Alright, so today we'll be looking at a few extra functions. I just have a button and everything, nothing's really styled. I just made it so it pops up in the center of the screen. That's about anything that you might not have. Now, first thing we want to do is we're going to actually look at date function. So what you want to do is you want to open control panel, and under by categories you want to go here to clock and region and say change date, time and number format. Click on that and this should pop up. If you don't get this format specifically and you like this format, it's under English United Kingdom. I know English South Africa and English United States doesn't all have the same ones. So yeah, if you would like this format, go to English United Kingdom. So that's the date format. You can change that to however you want. That's what's going to appear here. But yeah, just as a side note for later, or actually for now. So if you click on the button and we can start coding, then I'm just going to use a show message because it is not that important right now that I add anything more. So show message, but you can put these because they are functions. You can put them inside variables, but it's optional. And then we can say time to string, and this will basically just convert the time now into string. So you should just say, you can just say time, and if you run this, click the button, as you can see 11:58:38, and that's about it for time. And then we can go to date to string, date to string. There are more ways you can use these. I'm just showing you the most basic ways of using them because we don't really need to know the more intense things right now. So then we can just go either date or now. Both means the same thing. We can actually do both. So let me just copy this, CB, and then we can go date. Then if we run this, we click the button. Now here's date to string now. As you can see, it's exactly the same format as here, so you can string manipulate this to find out what's the current date. And then you can press OK, and here's same thing if you use date. So it's optional whichever one you want to use. Of course, you can make more complex ones than this. So let's say we want to change the color of this form's background. Then what we can do is we can go form1, because then name it form1 dot color, and then you can either go something like CL red, for example, or you can go form1 dot color becomes. Before I show that, let's first make sure that this works. Now this will change the background color of the form to red. If you can remember from the first few videos where we did a little bit of this, it will just change the background colors. Click the button, as you can see it turns red. Now there is an alternative method which you can use, and then you can insert RGB values. Now if you don't know what RGB values is, I will give you a quick explanation, and if you don't understand it, then it's fine. So RGB stands for red, green, blue. If you have a gaming PC, you kind of would know that, red, green, blue. Now the first value between 0 and 255, if I'm not mistaken, so that would be red, how red it is. If it's 0, then there's no red, then red is basically black, you could say. So let's say 255, 0, that would produce red. But if you go 255, remove that 0 and make this 0, then you would get green, because then there's no red or blue here. And if you make that 0 and you make this 255, then you would get blue. So let's run this and just make sure you understand how it's working. Click the button, it turns blue. Now of course you can mix them. If you go 0, 0, 0, you get black, because then there's no color at all. If you go 255 and 255 and 255, then you get white, because 0 is black and the maximum value is white. And then you can mix them up. You can maybe go like 50 and make this one 125. I don't know what color that will produce, but it will produce a color which mainly consists of red. click the button. As you can see, it turns a pinkish color. Of course, you don't need to have a 255. You can literally make this like 0 and none of them actually their maximum value. Click the button and then we get a kind of bluish color. And yeah, that's something interesting if you wanted to ever know that. Then we get another beautiful function. So let's go show message, and then we say bool to string, and then we can say odd. Now this will determine whether a value is an odd value or not. So if we put like 15 in here, 15 is odd, you can't divide that by 2, then it will work it out for you. Click it and you see you get -1, which means it is odd. And if you go like 20 for example, which is not an odd value, they will return true, which is basically 0. 0 equals false, and -1 equals true. Only in Delphi will get such a really bad way of doing it. But anyways, then you also have another beautiful value, so we can just go show message again. And I forgot to tell you about this one, so you can also go bool to string, and we can go is leap year, and then we can put something like 2020. 2020 is a leap year, so it should return -1, but 2019 is not a leap year, so it should return 0. So if you click the button, 2020 returns -1 because it's true, and 2019 returns 0 because it's false. Then another thing you can do is we can just remove all of this and this as well. So another thing we can do is we can say return an ordinal value type, which is, let's say for example, the ASCII value of something. For example, A's ASCII value would be 65, because all letters in computer language is basically just numbers, and capital A's number is 65, where lowercase a would be something like 97, I think, and B would then be, big B would be equal to 66, and I guess you can probably see how it's going to go on. Yeah, it's going to go on and stuff. So yeah, so every character, you know, where's a space, whether it's enter, I think enter has, but I'm not yeah, enter does have, but you know, anyways, whether it is capital A, capital Z, lowercase a, exclamation mark, all of them do have ordinal value types. So if we go int to string, and we can just go ord, and we can go something, for example, a, which will basically be 65, and then we can go something like lowercase z, to give another example, and then we can do something like an exclamation mark, just to make sure you know that basically everything you see when you look at text can be translated into numbers because of computers and how they work. We click the button, 65, as I said, 65, 122, which is the small letter z. Small letter z is 122, and then 33 is that. Okay, we click on X, we can close all of that, and then we can just remove this because now it's getting a little bit clustered. Okay, now the same thing can be done the other way around. So let's show message, and then we can go, let's see, we can just display char. Now basically, if we were to put 65 in here, it would return 90, it would return 65, because I mean it would return capital A, not 65, because the letter A is basically 65 in computer language, as I just told you. And let's even copy this and see And then we can go here and make this 97, which, if I'm not mistaken, is lowercase a. That's about all I know in these actualities. But yeah. We click the button. We get a capital A, as you can see here. And we get a lowercase a. So yeah, in computer language, these are actually letters. So there's a function called randomize. And what randomize basically does, it just randomizes your random range. Because random range itself isn't really random. You can, at some point, you can like predict what you're going to get next. Because computers can't actually generate random numbers. They just have like a little way they can choose specific numbers. It's not really random, you know. So if you use randomize, it will scramble the numbers that the computer has basically lined up, and it will scramble them. So then it is a little bit more random. So you can't just go and figure out what's going to be the next value. You can't guess it. So that's randomize. You can use randomize, and then you can go like random range 1 to 101, so we can get 1 to 100 and whatnot. So yeah, you can use that along with random range. Just you only have to set once, and then you can use random range after I've imported a math class, that is. But we don't need to do that. You just need to know it randomizes the values more, so it makes it more random. And then you have one of my personal favorites, sleep. So let's go show message, and let's try to do this. If for form1 dot color becomes CL black, and then let's CBB. Then you can go sleep, and in milliseconds we can say something. For example, let's say 1000 milliseconds, which I think translates into a second. And then after a second we want this to change to red. So let's run this. So what sleep basically does, it just tells the computer wait, and then the amount of time you asked for. In this case we asked for a second. So if we click the button, it turns black, and then it turns red. Click the button, it turns black. After a second it turns red. So yeah, sleep basically just gives you a option to slow it down. If you remove the sleep and we click it now, click the button, as you can see it just instantly went red. We didn't get an option or a chance to see black because it's so fast our eyes can't really see it. So yeah, that is all the extra functions and procedures I wanted to tell you all about today. Thank you all for watching. I hope you all enjoyed, and see you all in the next video.